All right. Great evening, everyone. Even if you're watching right now, maybe you're watching this replay, and it may be morning where you are. Great morning to you, wherever you are, whatever time zone it is. Just want to introduce you to our session all about today's new era student athlete, guys. Just a little bit about myself. My name is Devrin Paul. Everybody calls me Coach DP. I started coaching at the age of 17 years old. I started out as a student manager with my uncle, Coach Tom Patterson, who actually gave me my first coaching opportunity at Kentucky State University. I worked my way up from cleaning the floors and washing the backboards as a student manager, all the way up to a Division I coach, right? So I started out at Kentucky State University, moved up the ladder, went to go work on the women's side. So I switched from men's basketball to women's basketball and went to the University of Louisville for graduate school and to actually be a GA on that staff with Jeff Walls. Plenty of great coaches. The coaching pedigree that I was around at that time was impeccable. I'm talking about the competition with assistant coaches getting the best players was unbelievable in the office. I mean, I was surrounded by some of the best in the industry, and all of those coaches are actually Division I head coaches at this point. Except for Stephanie Norman, who's had numerous opportunities, but she's an associate head coach at the University of Louisville. But, being around those type of coaches in that environment really taught me a lot, right? I also was an assistant coach at Marshall University, where I was with Matt Daniel and that staff and really helped to turn around that program. So shout out to Matt for giving me that coaching opportunity. But, listen, through my years of being a coach, I've actually learned that there's more to coaching than just drawing up plays. And if you a coach watching this right now, I know you sit back in your chair like, preach, but there's so much more to coaching than just getting on the court and putting the kid through a workout, right? So I want to break down some different things and some barriers that may be in our way as we look to become better as coaches, because that's actually what I do. I help others to achieve their dreams, to increase their results, increase their performance. I work with coaching staffs, organizations, small teams, small groups, helping them to increase the performance, helping them to win more games, helping them to reach these student athletes on the court as well as off the court, guys. So today is all about the new era. Oh, I know you felt that energy when I said it, right? The new era, because things change. And I understand that. I understand that to the fullest degree, because I remember when I was a player and I was a student athlete, right? And somebody would tell me to do something. If let's say a coach told me to go, run it down and back, I would just run it. I didn't ask the coach if they had any accolades, if they played the sport when they were younger, what gives them the authority to coach me. I didn't ask them any of this stuff, right? But I've realized in today's era, student athletes want to know that. They want to know, like, what gives you the authority to tell me what to do? What gives you the knowledge and the prestige to be able to give me the wisdom that I need, right? And I don't fault them for that, but I also want to make sure that we're well equipped to be able to answer these questions that they bring to us, right? So I want to jump into a couple questions, and I want to ask you guys, right? Before we even get started, I got a few questions that I want you to answer, and let's get some feedback, guys. First question: have you ever told a player to do something and they totally didn't understand? I remember when I was an assistant coach at Marshall University, and I thought I had a fire conversation with one of our student athletes. I mean, I brought her in the office, showed her all these things that she could start to do to get more playing time, because that's what she said she ultimately wanted. She wanted to get in the game more. So, I broke down all of these different things that could help her to get in the game more, help her get the playing time that she wanted. And we left the office, and I was like, yes, what I'm saying? I called my head coach like, hey, I really reached this kid. I think she's going to turn it around. And I went on a recruiting trip, and I was out recruiting, and I got some disturbing news from my head coach. He said, hey, I just wanted to let you know I had to send her home. I'm like, what? Send her home? What you mean send her home? He said, man, she got even worse. As you left and you was on your recruiting trip, it just went even further south. And I thought to myself, I said, man, maybe I didn't effectively communicate what I was saying, because I thought we was good. I thought we was on our way to winning more games. You know what I'm talking about? I thought we was definitely bonding at that point. but obviously it didn't hit. It didn't stick. So have you ever had anything happen like that to you in your coaching career? All right. And then the second question I want to ask you, have you ever thought you were motivating a player and they were rejecting the coaching? Oh man, listen, once again, I know as an assistant coach, I know that when I try to motivate players, I'm motivating them towards the goal of the team, of the unit, right? And sometimes I have to show them individually how they need to be their best person in order for us to achieve great results. But in the midst of that, it comes with a little bit more motivation than they may be ready for, right? And I know as a young coach, I used to just, hey, you need to do this. You gotta get in the game. You gotta practice. You gotta make sure you put up 100 shots. I mean, you gotta want it. You gotta be a beast on the court. And I used to hit him with all of the verbs. And I used to make sure I had great energy, great posture. I was reading all of the books, right? And I thought I was just, straight up motivating everybody on the team. And I had one of my closest players come to me and say, Coach, I don't even want to do this anymore because you're so hard on me. And I thought to myself, isn't this what you wanted? Didn't you want me to be hard on you? Why are we running away from this now? And I had to quickly think back and analyze myself and self-evaluate and say, hey, am I handling this the right way? But I thought I was motivating her. And she straight up rejected the coaches. So I want you to think about, have you ever had an instance or a situation where you may thought you were motivating a player and they actually turned around and rejected that type of coaching? Okay. And the third question and the last question, I want you to start thinking about, get those wheels turning, get that athlete's mindset going, baby. Have you ever thought this new generation is difficult to communicate with or seem very weak-minded? Right? Let me break that down. And I'm not saying anything bad about any generation, because the generation before mine used to say that we don't listen either. I think that's just a prerequisite for every generation. Like, hey, you gotta make sure that you talk bad about the generation that's younger than you, right? So I don't want to talk bad about anybody, and I don't want to put anybody down, because that's not even my coaching style, right? I'm not one of those people that say I got to tear you down before I build you up. Why? Why do you have to tear anybody down? Do you want to be tore down? I don't do stuff like that. Now, I am going to help you self-evaluate and look at some areas where you could become better, right? Because that's the only way that you really get better, is looking in the mirror, right? But I know I've been in situations where I was talking to, the younger generation, and I was communicating, and it came off like I was being too aggressive. I was telling them too many things, telling them to do things instead of really talking to them. I was talking at them, right? And I realized that with the new generation, we have to change. We got to do some different things that we're not used to doing, right? And you might be saying, Coach, why do we need to change? Why do we need to do anything different than what we've been doing? Well, I work with tons of coaching staffs around the world, not just at Division I levels, not just at Division II, but all levels, guys, professional coaches as well. And one thing that I've realized, even inside of corporations, is the transfer amount of student athletes is alarming. I'm talking about now, if a player thinks that the basketballs are better across the street, they may just put their name in the portal. You know what I'm saying? If they think they got better gear, they may put their name in the portal. So we have to be aware of these things. And I know that you guys are aware of them, because a lot of us are recruiting out of the portal now. Now it's making it to where, as a Division II coach, you can go get you a Division I player that's just in the portal, right? So it's also become a new wave for recruiting, right? But this also happens inside of companies. Right now, we're at an all-time high when it comes to the employment rate. So there are a lot of opportunities for new employment. But even when I go to different corporations and when I go to different restaurants, even for my birthday dinner, we went to a restaurant, and I'm not going to throw them under the bus, but I mean, the service was just, the server even told us, he said, hey, I haven't been doing this for long. I don't know anything about the menu. I'm like, anything? Like, that's how you're going to lead out? That's how you're going to come out and take our order? Like, hey, I don't know nothing, but I can help you. And then it took them about 2.5 hours to get the food out. I'm like, yo, what is going on? But people are looking for people that just want to do their job. That's where we have become in a society. People just want others to just do their job. Just show up and just do what we expect for you to do. And this is what we're talking about today, guys. We're talking about how to actually reach somebody where they are, and help them to change that mindset, help them to get the results that they want, right? Because I feel like for every staff, for every coach out there, it is time for us to understand what motivates every single one of our players on our team and our staff members. That's right. That's right. Imagine every single one of your players being motivated, being pushed in the right direction all together. That's what we call synergy. That's what creates championship teams. Man, I remember when I was at the University of Louisville and I was coaching with that coaching staff, and I had a chance to really sit back and really learn so much, especially as a video coordinator. I really had a chance to look through the camera lens and see all of the things that were being done to build championship caliber teams, right? And one of the things that they always stress was we got to be able to motivate the players. We got to get them to get out of their comfort zone. We got to continue to help them to grow. But I'm asking you, do you understand how to motivate every single player on your team? Think about that, guys. Think about that. It's also time for us to learn how each player views problems before the adversity during the season. Man, I know for a fact, right? I'm not even, forget that. I ain't gonna talk about nobody else. I'm gonna talk about myself. I know that I have recruited some players and I have thought that they were very mentally tough, mentally stable, mental health on 100, you know what I'm saying? Really taking care of business. And then adversity would hit, a problem comes, and they fold. I got a totally different person on my hands than I had before. But I never had a chance to see that because they were in the green light. They was in a great space. They didn't have any adversity going on. They were in that recruiting process where, you know, it's all peaches and cream. It's all flowers, right? Everything is gravy until you get to campus and we tell you that you really need to be in class on time, that you really need to be in the gym all the time, right? Until we start saying things like that, then we really get to see your character, right? So we got to be able to understand and learn how each player actually views their problems prior to the adversity, right? Something else that we got to learn is how each player responds to our style of coaching prior to the problems. I realized that I am not the coach for everyone. Even as a life coach, I'm not the coach for everyone. If you think you're going to show up late, you're going to give 50% effort, you're not going to take the feedback and make the proper adjustments, I'm not the coach for you because I am going to do those things. I am going to be pushing you and motivating you. And I'm going to want the same thing from somebody that's coaching me, right? If somebody's giving me advice, if somebody's sitting me down, if my coaching mentor sits me down and tells me, hey, here's some things that I think you need to work on, I'm going to accept that feedback, not only accept it, but make the proper adjustments because I'm coachable. We need to understand, are the players that we recruiting, are the players that we're coaching on our immediate team right now, are those players the type of players that respond to your coaching tendencies, your coaching style, right? And we all have a coaching style, whether you want to admit it or whether you don't. If you say, I'm the coach for everybody, you probably the one not reaching nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like if you put your net out there trying to catch everything, you're probably gonna come home with nothing. But if you focus in on exactly what type of student athlete you're looking for, I guarantee that the results, they come right behind that, right? When you find your ideal player, your ideal person that you want to work with, the results, they come very, very quick. When I first started recruiting student athletes, I used to just go out and look for talent. You know, look in the gym, who's the best player? Let me try to go get her. Let me put every hat that I got on and let me go after that player. But then I quickly realized that may not be the best player for the program that I'm involved in, right? So when I look and I break down what are the tendencies and what are the things that we're looking for in our prominent player, that's when I was able to realize that, ooh, I need a certain type of player that fits my coaching style that can actually get the results that I'm looking for, guys. All right, it's also time to learn how each player tends to view established standards or playing styles, right? You got to know how they view these things. Are these players motivated by the details? Do they understand the procedures and the standards? Or are they going to try to trump those things and say, I don't want no type of standards, right? We want to know those things as we start working with our student athletes, as we start communicating with this new era of athletes. These are things that we got to start learning. We got to start adjusting to, because these are the things that are going to be able to take us from a zero to a hero. You know what I'm saying? These are the things that are going to take you from the ground level all the way up and be able to build your players and mold them into the student athletes that you want them to be, right? So these are the things that we're learning through a process, guys. And this process I'm gonna give you some great information today, guys. Great information. But there's three major things that I want you to be able to take away from this call today. Three major takeaways that I want you to be, I want you to be clear when you leave this, that these three things you actually learned, right? The first thing, I want you to have a better understanding of yourself. I want you to understand exactly what you do well and what you need help in, right? And it's okay that you need help. I don't know how many times I have worked with coaching staffs and they'll say, oh, nope, got that figured out. Nope, got that figured out. Hey, got that figured out. Did you win a national championship last year? No? Okay, then you got a little work that you need to do, right? And I don't know. You know, maybe your work is more internal, right? Maybe you need to work on yourself. But through this call, you're going to have a better understanding of yourself, right? Same thing. A better understanding of your players and your staff members. Both of them, right? Because they both really make a difference, guys. If you're able to reach the players, but then you don't know how to motivate your staff members to get the best out of them as well, and you're hard to work with, you're difficult to get things done with, you know, you go in a cubicle all by yourself and get things done, but you're working on a staff with other people, right? I'm not saying that being an introvert is bad, because it's not, right? And we're going to learn how to actually reach those type of players and those staff members. But what I am saying is you got to be able to also go into your extrovert, because you have both sides in you. You have both of those sides in you. So when you can understand those things and understand your players, understand those things that motivate them, understand the things that they're looking for from you. They may have an expectation that you're not even reaching yet. And you don't even understand that yet because you don't understand your players, right? So I want you to leave with a clear understanding of your players and even a better understanding, because I know we're all coaches and we're putting the work in. I know you, baby. I know you in the office late, because you wouldn't be on this type of call. You wouldn't be working on yourself if you weren't that type of person. So I know you know your players. I'm not saying that you don't know your players, but what I am saying is this: always opportunities to grow, right? And then the last thing I want you to leave with, you're going, this is a game changer right here, guys. This life changer, the ability to adjust for others and produce win-win solutions within just your communication. Producing win-win solutions, guys. It's great that as coaches, we're solution-based, right? We're not focused on the problems. We're focused on things that we can control, things that we can actually change, right? But when we actually understand this communication process a little bit better, we can produce these win-win solutions. I remember before I started really keying in on things like this, I used to say a lot of things, but I didn't follow through with everything, right? But I didn't even know that was a problem. That was a blind spot in my own personal life. I used to say, yeah, I'm gonna be there. Yeah, I got that. Saying yes to everybody, but I couldn't even fulfill the 3 yeses, right? And now I didn't put in 5 or 6. Now I got to try to double back around. Now I'm stressed out because I'm spreading myself too thin, but I want to be a part of everything, right? So I had to quickly understand all of these things. And that's why I'm breaking this down to you, because sometimes we have what I call hidden spots in our lifestyle and our coaching styles, where we've been doing things for the same way for so long that we don't understand that what we can't see is the problem. I'm gonna say that again. A crooked stick don't know it's crooked until it sees a straight one. And you may be thinking, Coach DP, what are you talking about? Listen, if I never saw that this finger was permanently jammed, right? If I never saw it, I never seen a straight finger. If I couldn't look at this one and see this is straight, I wouldn't be able to see that this is jammed. I would think that's normal, right? And that's how we go through life sometimes. So I'm talking about how to adjust and adapt to effectively get these win-win solutions in your coaching style as well as your life, Because what I've realized and what I've learned throughout my years and the things that I teach with all of the coaching staffs that I work with is to be able to break it down into 4 different personality types, right? Imagine walking into a room and instead of looking and you see 12, 13 players, all different players that you got to motivate. What if you only had to put them into 4 type of people, right? So what if you only really had to speak to 4 people instead of speaking to 13, 14, 15, even a room full of people? What if you could break it down to where you're just trying to reach these 4 different type of personality types, right? And the key to all of this is noticing that there's 2 dominant types that everybody has. Everybody has 2 personality dominant types. Now, it doesn't mean that you're going to stay in one over the other. What it means is your natural style, the way that you naturally go through life, is your personality dominant type number 1. And then the second natural style that you have that you normally go through your day-to-day life is your second dominant type, right? And that's what we really key in on. We really key in on those things. So I'm going to take you into the jungle of communication, baby. I love it because sometimes, listen, when you're going through communication, you may have to stop, drop, and roll. You know what I'm saying? You may have to look over your shoulder, see what somebody's saying. Hey, did they really get that? Did they really understand that? Let me double back around, say the same thing in a different type of way so I can still reach that kid. So most of the time when I'm communicating, I'm in the jungle, baby. I'm in the jungle of communication. So let's meet the animals that's in this jungle of communication. But remember, communication is universal. Everybody can communicate. Everybody can talk. I don't care if you don't have words coming out of your mouth. You can use your hands as sign language, right? You can write things down. That's communication. You can text. That's communication. Now you can even do like a voice note. That's communication, right? But here comes the but, guys. Effective communication changes lives and produces desirable results. Effective communication changes lives and produces quality wins. Quality wins. When you can reach that kid that you didn't think was ever going to turn around and they actually become a walking bucket. I'm talking about the whole swag of the team changes. Whole swag changes, guys. All right, so let's take a closer look now. Let's go a little bit deeper and let's talk about these 4 personality types in the jungle of communication, right? I'm actually going to turn them into animals, okay? So the 4 different animals that we're going to be talking about are just a different way of looking at the 4 personality types, okay? So at the top here, you can see we have the verbal, fast-paced, decisive, interactive. All right, on the decisive side, that is the lion. Okay, and we're going to talk about these a lot more, but you have the lion, you have the flamingo, you have the chameleon, and you have the turtle, right? And on the sides, you can see people oriented right here, right? On this side. At the bottom, you got reserved and even pace. Okay, so that's the chameleon, very stable, even pace. Then you have the reserved, that's the turtle, right? Cautious. And then at the top, you got the verbal, faster pace, the lion, and then the flamingo, guys. Let's go into the jungle. Jungle what, baby? All right, as we look at each one of these, guys, I'm going to actually do a little homework. I'm going to hold you accountable. I want you to ask yourself 2 questions. First question, do I have any of these qualities or these tendencies? So as I talk about each one of these animals or personality types, I want you to actually be writing down, what do you think is your dominant animal? Your first one, your second one, your third one, and your fourth one, right? Because your last one is really your superpower. That's the one that you got in the cut that don't nobody know about. You can tap in real quick and you can get all of that out because you actually been your natural self as well. So we always want to know all 4. do you have any, do any of your players or your staff members have these qualities or these tendencies? That's the second question you need to be asking yourself. As we go through each one of these animals, I want you to be writing down which one of your players do you think has these tendencies in one of these animals, right? So I want you to be able to write down, hey, you know, Jenny is probably a lion based on what I've seen. Ricardo is probably a flamingo based on what I've seen. Shayna is probably a turtle based on what I've seen, right? I want you to write those things down, really start getting your mind movement and really come into the jungle with me, because the more you participate and the more you're a part of this, the realer it gets and the better it gets, because talking to 4 personality types is a lot easier than you trying to figure out who's who on which day. Because I don't know about you, but sometimes I can talk to my players. One day I'm like, okay, yeah, you locked in. Yeah, yeah. Hey, this girl, this guy, they going somewhere. They making big moves. And then the next day I come in, I'm like, whoa, who is this? Who are you? What happened? Oh man, I thought we was going the opposite direction, right? So I want you to also understand those things. First animal, guys, first personality type. This is the lion. The lion is very dominant, very driven, a demander, determined, decisive. This is the doer of the team, right? Lions usually are faster paced. They're going to make quick decisions. They're motivated by winning. Competition and success is something that they wake up and they want to see every single day, right? Now, what may happen sometime is because they are so faster paced and very bottom line driven, they run over details and they can run over people. They can hurt somebody's feelings in the meantime, right? So I want you to be thinking, is that your coaching style? Are you more about, hey, let's win this game. Let's get after it today. Let's make sure we get the bottom line done, right? Are you really focused on achieving the immediate results? They're very direct. You don't have to worry about who they're talking to. They may actually call your name out. You know, this is the person that may grab somebody by their jersey and say, hey, what are you doing? I'm gonna need you to get back on defense, right? That's the lion, guys. That's the lion. Please write down these notes, man. I can't tell you how much this can help you in your career and your life. Second dominant animal, flamingo, which this would be my first dominant animal, right? So my wife is a natural lion, naturally going to get the job done. Myself, I'm a natural flamingo, inspiring, influencing, interactive, impressive, interested in people, right? I place a lot of my stability and my awareness into shaping the environment that I'm in, right? Being able to persuade other people to help change their life, help change their lifestyles in a positive way, right? I love to speak to audiences. I love to hop on calls like this. This is really what I love to do. And I'm in my natural element. I don't have to force something, although I've learned that I still got to practice, right? Sometimes we think just because we gifted at something, we could just show up and do it. That's not the case. You still want to make sure you're practicing, right? I value coaching and counseling, freedom of expression. Since a young child, man, I was like, I would be the student in class like, hey, any questions? Yeah, I got a question. Why are we doing this? You know what I'm saying? My mother taught me at a young age, Devin, speak up for yourself. If you have something, if you're feeling some type of way, you need to express yourself. So from a young age, I was taught to become a flamingo, basically, right? So it's very natural to me. But flamingos can also be so faster paced, they also overlook the details. And sometimes they don't accomplish anything. I had to laugh because that's me sometimes, right? So I can get to talking. Next thing you know, I'm like, oh, what was we supposed to be doing? Where was we supposed to be at? Right? So I know you probably thinking about some of your players right now, like, oh yeah, that's the life of the party. But she ain't doing nothing in the gym though. She not getting anything done that we told her to get done. But we love her though. She come in the office, we have a good time with her. She listens, she's coachable. But man, that girl can overlook some details, right? So that would probably be your flamingo. Your chameleon, very supportive, stable, sweet, status quo. This is the shy person, but a natural born team player. They put an emphasis on cooperating. What do you know? I'm talking about players that really are naturally coachable, right? They prioritize supporting, collaborating, maintaining the stability. And I always say, I believe, now I don't know if he took the assessment or if he went into his personality type, but I think that Scottie Pippen, who played with Michael Jordan, was a chameleon, because I truly believe he ultimately held that team together. He was the glue between a lot of players, between Jordan and the rest of the players. He was kind of like that bridge the gap, right? So chameleons are very important because they are super loyal, but they are going to lay in the cut. You know what I'm saying? A chameleon not going to just pop up and be like, hey, I'm ready to get in. I'm good. What's going on, coach? What you need me to do? They're going to just kind of be in the background. You're going to have to pull those things out of them. They're not going to push back, but they're also not going to just step up. They want to move at their own pace, which happens to be a little bit more reserved than everybody else. But it's okay because they're a natural born team player. I know you sit there thinking already like, man, yo, I gotta get the fourth one. What's the fourth personality, Coach DP? What's the fourth one? Turtles. Turtles is number 4. This is the cautious, calculating, competent. I mean, super careful, guys. Super careful. They are described as careful, accurate, tactful. I mean, motivated by opportunities to gain knowledge, meaning they are going to question you a lot. They're going to be coming to you, asking you things about why you're doing things. And they may not want to even hear the criticism that you're going to give them. If they end up being wrong, this is the type of player you really want to pull to the side and say, you know, hey, here's a coaching moment. And then you really coach them on the side. If you go at a player that happens to be a dominant turtle in front of everybody else, you run the risk of possibly losing that kid for the rest of the season. Because what will happen is they will go inside the shell, and it's very tough to get a turtle outside of the shell once they go in, right? I mean, they trust you, but once they go in, it's very tough. They value the quality and the accuracy of things, right? They want to get things done the right way on the first try, because they don't want you telling them that they got it wrong. So in the meantime, that actually may take them more time to process things and to get these things done, because they are so driven by getting it done the right way. See, the turtle and the lion are cousins because they both want to get it done, but the turtle wants to get it done the right way at the right time. The lion's like, yo, bump that. Get this done, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care how you get it done. Get it done. Sound like my wife. My wife would just be like, hey, I'm going to need you to just make sure all the trash is out. I'm like, okay. And I'm sitting there thinking like, okay, so how many trash cans do we have? Do I need to empty each one every time? Or what's the case? And my wife's just like, get it done, because she's a lion. Right now, my mother-in-law is a turtle. Oh man, so when it comes to cleaning the house, oh my God, I try to run. I'm hiding. I'm like hiding behind stuff, because I know she's going for all about the quality and the accuracy. She's going to be really about the details. And that's not my strong suit. Although I do realize it's my superpower. And when I tap into that turtle, I'm talking about I get laser focused, right? So I want you to start thinking about some of those players that you have on your team that may be turtles, maybe flamingos, maybe chameleons, and maybe lions, all right? And let's really start digging a little bit deeper, and let's start talking about how do you motivate each one of these players? Because to understand the player is great, to understand the personality is great, but what are you going to do with that? How's that going to help you win more games, right? Here it is right here. I'm going to break it down to you, all right? Now, remember, guys, motivation is something that really wears off, right? But what I really want to install is discipline. So this is how you can actually show them how to be disciplined in their strengths, in their natural preferences, you can now coach them how to be disciplined without coming at them. Okay. All right. So with this new era, guys, if you're dealing with lions, okay, if you're dealing with lions in this new era of student athletes, you want to give them the challenges. That's going to keep them engaged. You want to give them tasks, give them different things that they can complete on a consistent basis. Like right away, give them something that they can do. Okay. Even if you bring them into your office to say, hey, hey, I seen you've been working on your jump shot. Is there any way you can make 100 shots in one day and send me the video? If that student athlete is a lion, all they see is the task, the challenge that you threw at them, and you put a time limit on it, so it's automatically going to be right up their alley because they want to go get that. They may now. What may happen is they may cut class. You know what I'm saying? That lion may be like, oh, well, coach said get shots up, so that's what I need to go do. So you do need to also give a little bit of detail and structure while you give them that challenge, just to make sure that they're actually in that parameter. You know what I'm saying? Don't be like my wife. Her freshman year, her team was having a team meeting, right? And she's coming from high school, 2,000 point score. I mean, she's a baller hooper, right? And she gets to college, and they having their first meeting, and my wife is on the playground hooping with the boys. They like, yo, where's Gabrielle at? Where is she at? She on the court with the guys getting shots up, and she's like, yo, I'm here for basketball, right? I'm outside playing basketball. That's a lion, right? So you got to be aware of those type of things. Second animal that you really want to look to motivate or to show discipline is the flamingo. And the way to motivate a flamingo is they want recognition. They want to know that they got that done. One thing that really, really pushes their buttons, and I'm telling you from personal experience, they love when you say their name, right? When you say like, hey, Devrin, you did a great job. Automatically my ears get a little bit bigger and start rising up because I love to hear that. And as a flamingo, if you got a student athlete that you're trying to motivate and get them to the next level, get them to kind of buy into the way that you're doing things, you got to be able to speak their language. And this is going to be speaking their language. And all you got to do is speak their language a couple of times, guys. I'm not saying you got to keep on going look at your cue cards to figure out how to talk to them. But once you reach them a couple of times, a student athlete really is like, hey, they really care about me. This is what you're doing. You're showing your student athletes you care about them because you're taking the extra step to learn more about their personality type. And you're investing in them now, right? So they love that. And the way to motivate a chameleon is you want to allow them to help. This is the player, you want them involved almost like an administrator. You almost want them to be like a little baby director of basketball operations. You want them involved in as much as you can, right? Just to keep them motivated, keep them going in the right direction, keep your eye on them, keep them, pushing towards something because they can become very complacent. Right? So if you keep them around you and give them things to do, they're not going to push back because that is their natural way of doing things. They want to help you. They want to be around. They want to show support. So give them something to support you in, like recruiting visits, like the camps that you're structuring, like the clinics that you have. And by the way, guys, if you do give them things to do, do not rush them. Don't do it. Because what will happen is the chameleon will start to think that they're not doing a good job. And once they feel like they're not doing a good job, they go deeper into their feelings. And it's very difficult to get them out of their feelings because they're very, very stable. So if a person is very stable and now they become negative, they're going to stay in the negativity. But the good thing is if they become positive, they're going to stay in that positivity. And they know how to kind of level things off once they get a good rhythm with the way that you're doing things. So you really want to utilize those chameleons as well. And next, we have the turtles. Now, the best way to motivate a turtle is to give them freedom to ask the questions that they want to ask, right? So if you're sitting there going through a scouting report or, maybe you're giving a team lecture to the team and you have a room full of turtles, something that I teach all of my coaching staffs to do is to say, hey guys, if there's anybody that doesn't understand anything that we just went over, come have a meeting with me after a film session real quick, 5-10 minute meeting, just so we could talk, right? Even after a team bonding event, hey, if anybody really wants to talk about what went down, hey, come have it. Let's talk about any questions that you guys have. Because the turtle may not put their hand up in a full room of people and ask a question because that's not their preference. That's not their natural style, right? So they're going to try to stay in that natural style as much as possible. So, but if you give them the freedom and the room to be themselves and ask those type of questions, they feel more spontaneous and they're more likely to go inside of their lion and be pushed a little bit more as opposed to go inside their shell and actually be more reserved. So this is how you can bring them out of the shell and push them into that lion. Because remember, the lion and the turtle are cousins because they're both on that task side. If you remember that first slide that we looked at, they kind of had a quick breakdown of the animals. They're both on the task side. Then on the people side, you have the chameleon and the flamingo. So it's important to understand that both have intrinsic motivators that are automatic, guys. Automatic. I'm talking about, listen, when you get this down pat, you're going to be walking around like, ooh, got it. I got it, Coach DP. I don't even need you, man. I got it. That's what I want you to do. All right. Here's some of the main focuses of each animal. Okay. When I say focus, I'm talking about the things that they really put a lot of time in, right? About 80% of their day goes into these things. The lion, get the job done. Just do it. Overcome the opposition and achieve the goals. Winners win, baby. Winners win. And we don't quit. That's what they focus on. This is my wife right here. This is my wife 110%. I mean, she's going hard. She don't care. She's trying to win the game and she don't know what it means to quit. Sometimes I got to tell her, babe, just chill out. I say you got to quit. I'm just saying, take some time off, sit down. Now that she's pregnant, you know, my daughter has naturally sat her down, made her have a seat. But that's what has to happen to a lion because normally they're just focused on getting the job done. The flamingo is, hey, I'm for you. Can we have some fun? And if we pull in the same direction, success is what we're going to end up doing. Now they great at motivating everybody else, getting everybody together. You know, this is the person that probably is leading everybody to the parties. This is the person that's grabbing everybody saying, hey, we're going to happy hour. Going to happy hour. Shoot, you might find some flamingos in a happy hour that didn't know nobody and they leaving with friends. That's the flamingo, right? Focused on having a good time. All right. Then the chameleon, all for one and one for all. If we all work together, we make a great team. This is why I'm telling you guys, this is an automatic team player. Imagine if you could identify that right away. Right away, know who your natural team players are. And now you can get them in between the two kids that don't get along. Now you can get them as the mediator. When I know you would find that out, but imagine if you knew that the first week that you were working with your student athletes. We're going to talk about that a little bit later though. All right, then the turtle. Anything worth doing is worth doing correctly. We can provide quality goods. This is the turtle saying, whoa, 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 whoa. Before we do that, coach, we got to know exactly how you want us to do it and when you want that done. And can we get a blueprint of what you really want? And even on your coaching staff, right? If you got scouting reports and you got a lot of flamingos doing the scouting reports, they're going when they get up there to present to the team, they're going to be sweet. They're going to be fire. But when you get the scouting report as the head coach, you're going to be like, yo, where's the shooting percentage? Where the rebounding percentage? Where the numbers at? Where's all the details at? They don't went all the way over that. They just put the main things in there. But what you could do is get a turtle to overlook a lot of the scouting reports. So it could go from the flamingo. Maybe the flamingo leads the in-person part where they present to the team. And maybe the turtle is over most of your actual data-driven material that you're going to use for your scouting report and to win more games. Ultimately, I want you to win more. That's what this is all about, baby. It's what it's all about. Okay, so went through how to motivate each player, right? Or major personality types or animals in the jungle, right? Went through their tendencies and the things that they actually do on a natural preference, okay? Broke down lots of things just now, guys. But what I want you to really do is take some time, close your eyes, and I want you to sit back for just a second, and I want you to imagine. right? Remember those days where you could sit back and you could start daydreaming and you could think about what you really want your life to be like, where you wanted to live at, and you could really go deep with all of your thoughts and your inner thoughts, right? So I want you to take some time and I want you to imagine. Okay, so as you sit there during your meditation time, I want you to think about, imagine yourself understanding what motivates every single player on your team. Okay, understanding what motivates every single player on your team, understanding what your top recruits are motivated by, what their preference of learning is, the best way to communicate with your top recruits. Maybe you're doing a bunch of phone calls to Chameleon. They might shut down. Maybe you asking the turtle about what do they want to do with the team. They don't want to do anything with the team, and you think it's a bad kid. It's not a bad kid. It's just that that's not their personality type. Not a bad thing. But imagine being able to identify those things. Just imagine, right? Just imagine knowing how to approach every single player on your team. Imagine the authentic relationships that you could build with every single player on your team. Imagine being able to have staff meetings where people didn't come at each other, but they could work together in cohesion to build the best team that you guys can have. Imagine that. Imagine the players understanding you as their coach, all being on the same page. Shoot, all being in the same book at the same time. Just imagine that. Imagine being able to cut the learning curve for your student athletes in the number of months, sometimes years, that it takes for them to understand you as a coach. Coaches, let me tell you something. The days of us having 2 to 3 to 4 years to mold a player, to get to understand them, for them to understand us, those days are no longer with us. But the days that are with us are the days of results, the days of us being able to reach players exactly where they are and build authentic relationships out of being able to effectively communicate. And when you can effectively communicate, you actually kill that learning curve for a student athlete. And what do I mean by the learning curve? Let me break it down to you. If you got a team full of freshmen, like I'm working with a team right now and a coaching staff that have 8 new players. 8 new players learning how to play together as cohesion in the right environment with standards, structure, right? Competing at a top level. These things are very difficult to do as you try to build a winning culture. But if you understood your players a lot better, understood yourself, and was able to bridge the gap for them, it could happen a lot quicker. Because 9 out of 10 times, you're going to find out that that one player that you've been trying to motivate the same way every time for a number of years and it doesn't work, you're going to be able to identify that, hey, based on the results of this personality of the student athlete that I'm dealing with, they're not motivated by the way that I'm trying to motivate them. They're actually motivated by encouraging them and giving them different things to help them and giving them a pat on the back and saying their name because I'm dealing with a Flamingo. Oh, now that I know that, who else is a Flamingo on my team that I may have not approached in the best way? Not the right way, but just the best way to get the best results. I don't know about you, but I'm trying to live my best life. I'm not trying to lose any games that I should win, but just because I don't want to take the time to really find out the best way to communicate, I'm losing games. I don't want that to be you. I don't want that to be you. I don't want you to be the coach that's like, they don't listen, they don't get it, and everybody's in the transfer portal on your team. Everybody's leaving every 5 minutes. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad thing for people to leave because sometimes it's just not the right fit. Sometimes you thought it was one thing, but it's not that one thing. But if you're tired of not getting the results that you want, right? not being able to develop the kids in the way that you want them to be, not winning the amount of games that you know you should win, because your kids are not motivated by your style of coaching. I want you to try something else, right? I want you to think about having a scouting report and all the benefits that that brings to your team. I think we can all agree that scouting reports have changed the game. Your preparation is what leads to celebration. So if you're prepared for the game, if you went over the tendencies, the offensive tendencies, the defensive tendencies, the best players on the other team, best opportunities that you can get to score, all of these things, if you've broken down their personality, if you broke down their game preferences, all of these things in a scouting report, and you went over it with all of your student athletes, wouldn't you agree that that's going to help you win the game? I think, I mean, I started out as a video coordinator where all I did was scouting reports. I used to live in the film room doing scouting reports. I would do the scouting report for the coach and say, hey, this is what's going to happen. This is what they're going to do at this point right here. Here you go. And what do you know? It was helping us win games. And I know your scouting reports are helping you guys win games, right? I know that those things are helping you to win games. Okay. So I want to show you something that can really change your view on scouting reports, guys. Let's imagine that you have this scouting report that I'm going to show you for each one of your players. Okay. Not another team, not someone else, but for your players and for your staff members. Quick scouting report, guys. This doesn't take months, doesn't take years. It can take you a week to understand this stuff, guys. Some of my coaching staffs, they like after the first session, Coach DP, I got it. I'm ready. Let's rock and roll. I even show all of my clients how to actually identify what is the dominant animal of somebody before you even give them an assessment. It's crazy, guys. It's really crazy. But what's even crazier is this right here. This is literally what I do for every single player on your team. Every player gets a player assessment card. And you, as the head coach or the assistant coach, we're going to go through their strengths, the best way to communicate with them from your dominant animal to their dominant animal. And then at the top right here, you can actually see all of the numbers are based on their assessment that they have taken. So all of these things, this is all data, guys. This is all data driven. I'm not asking for inputs, opinions, right? Because those things could be wrong. I'm going with the facts. These are the facts, guys. The facts are this type of person that is a 77% chameleon and a 67% flamingo and lion, it demands high performance of themselves and others on the team, is a great communicator, and works for win-win situations. Now, when I know this about one of my team members, I now have the authority to put them in the best position possible because I know their strengths right away. I know the best way to communicate with them. I even give you an insider tip. This is something that I personally put together for you, your players, and your staff. Guys, just imagine if you had this right now, before you got into conference play and everything started going crazy. That adversity that I talked about, it's about to happen. It's about to happen. Those freshmen, those transfers that you got, they're about to get tested. They're going to come up against something. My thing is, let's figure out who they really are right now. Let's go ahead and figure that out right now so we're not surprised 2 months down the line. So you're not going to battle without one of your best players 2 months in, right? Let's talk about those things. Listen, guys, I work with tons of coaching staffs. I work with universities, organizations, and the number one thing in leadership is building effective language. Effective language, guys. It's communication, but not just communication. Everybody can communicate, but not everybody can effectively communicate. Okay. And I know you putting the work in. I see you, big dog. I see you doing things. But what I want to do is I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you to do a little bit more, be a little bit more, really take that next step in your career, right? Really want to get you to that next level. So if any of these things that we talked about today really jumped out to you and you was like, yo, this is what I'm talking about, Coach DP. I'm really taking this stuff. I'm really applying these things. I'm really going to get after it. I want you to really find out what comes with this coaching package, this program that I've been doing with all these universities, all these organizations. I want you to find out what comes with the package, guys. Let's have a private conversation. Let's talk about this. You can email me, you can text me, you can call me. I'm here for you because I remember when I didn't understand myself great and I didn't know how to understand others. I really was just getting through on pure talent, guys. Pure talent, excuse me. But what I realized is talent is not enough. Just like we tell our players, talent is not enough. What it's going to take is for you to apply the knowledge that you've been getting, apply the information that you've been getting. And I'm here to help you. I'm here to take you from where you are to where you want to be. Let's set up a meeting. Let's go deep. Let's do a deep dive on your team. Let's really work together and let's go from surviving into thriving. Let's go from just having a good team to winning the games that you want to win, helping the student athletes to become the players that you want them to be on and off the court, because this is going to help them in their personal life as well. All right. So guys, before I leave you, you know what time it is. I just want to leave you with this, guys. Nothing changes until you change. I'm going to say that again because you might have missed it. Nothing changes until you change. So make the change today. And as always, trust the grind. Let's get it. Text me, email me, call me. If you want to set up that private call, would love to chat with you. Have a great day.